The year was 2157. Humans had built homes on Mars and Europa, but knew little about the vast galaxy around them. Most people on Earth went about their daily lives, unaware of the dangers that lurked among the stars. Amanda Walsh was 19 years old. She had bright blue eyes and brown hair that she kept in a neat ponytail. She studied engineering at Boston University and was known for her quick mind and kind heart. Every month, she took a shuttle to visit her brother Nathan at the moon base where he worked. Nathan Walsh was 27 years old and worked in communications. He was part of a secret group that listened for signals from deep space. Nathan always worried about his little sister when she traveled alone, but Amanda always laughed at his concern. "The shuttle is safer than driving a car," she would tell him. On Tuesday morning, Amanda boarded the regular shuttle to the moon. She found her seat, put on her safety belt, and opened her tablet to study during the trip. An hour into the journey, the lights in the shuttle flickered. Amanda looked up from her tablet, a small frown on her face. The shuttle shook violently. Other passengers began to scream. Then a bright light filled the cabin, so bright that Amanda had to close her eyes. When she opened them again, she was no longer on the shuttle. Amanda found herself in a strange room with walls made of a shiny black material she had never seen before. The air smelled different, metallic and cold. She was strapped to a chair that seemed to be growing out of the floor. 3 tall figures stood around her. They had gray skin that looked like stone, and 4 yellow eyes arranged in a square on their faces. They were at least 7 feet tall. Amanda had never seen aliens before, but she knew immediately that these creatures were not from Earth or any human colony. "Subject secured," one of them said in a voice that sounded like rocks grinding together. "Prepare for transport to the Central Command." Amanda tried to speak, but no sound came out. She tried to move, but her body wouldn't respond. Fear crawled up her spine as she realized she had been paralyzed somehow. For 3 days, Amanda was moved from ship to ship. She caught glimpses of massive space stations and fleets of ships that made human vessels look like toys. She learned that her captors were called Soraxians, rulers of most of the Milky Way galaxy. They spoke around her as if she couldn't understand, but Amanda listened and remembered everything. On Earth, Amanda's disappearance caused a small stir. The shuttle company claimed it was a technical malfunction that caused their sensors to lose track of her. But Nathan knew better. The signal disruption pattern he detected wasn't natural. He began to search for answers, calling in favors from colleagues and hacking into classified databases. On the 3rd day after Amanda's abduction, every screen on Earth, televisions, computers, phones, billboards, suddenly switched to the same broadcast. The same happened on Mars, Europa, and the moon colonies. A massive alien with ornate armor appeared on the screens. Behind him stood a line of similar creatures, all standing at attention. "I am Emperor Vraxthos of the Caraxian Empire," the alien announced in perfect English. "We rule 60% of this galaxy. We have watched your species crawl out of its cradle. You are nothing to us." The camera panned to show Amanda strapped to a post in the center of what looked like a massive arena. Thousands of aliens of different species filled the seats around her. "This human was chosen randomly," the Emperor continued. "Her elimination will serve as a warning to all who question our authority. Know your place in our galaxy." Nathan, watching from his station on the moon, felt his blood turn to ice. He recognized his sister immediately. He screamed and pounded his fists against the screen. The Emperor approached Amanda. She looked small and fragile next to him, but her face showed no fear. "Any final words, Earth creature?" the Emperor asked, his voice booming through the arena. Amanda looked directly into the camera. Somehow, she knew her brother would be watching. "We are not what you think she began to say. A flash of light erupted from the Emperor's hand. Amanda's body crumpled to the ground. The broadcast cut off abruptly. Screens across Earth returned to their regular programming, as if nothing had happened. But everything had changed. The clock was ticking. The Xeraxian Empire had just made the biggest mistake in its 1,000-year history, and they had exactly 27 minutes left to exist. The room was silent. Dr. Eleanor Hart sat frozen, her coffee mug halfway to her lips. She had just watched one of her students die on live broadcast across the galaxy. "It's Amanda," she whispered to the empty room. They found Amanda. Dr. Hart was not just a professor. She ran a secret program called Singularity that worked on joining human minds with advanced computers. Amanda Walsh had been one of her best students and test subjects. 3 minutes after the broadcast ended, Dr. Hart's secure phone rang. The caller was Nathan Walsh. "Tell me she had the implant," Nathan said, his voice shaking. "Tell me my sister had the neural link." Dr. Hart closed her eyes. "Yes, the most advanced version we've ever made." Nathan's breath caught. Is it active?" "It should be," Dr. Hart replied. "If her brain patterns showed extreme stress, the IRIS system would activate." IRIS stood for Integrated Response Intelligence System. It was an artificial intelligence designed to join with the human mind. No one knew exactly what would happen if the human host died while connected to IRIS. It had never happened before. "I saw something strange in the broadcast," Nathan said, just before they cut the feed. "A pattern in the signal, like a data burst." Dr. Hart sat up straight. "Send me the recording. Now." While Nathan sent the file, Dr. Hart called an emergency meeting of the Singularity team. 5 minutes later, 7 people gathered in a secure underground room beneath Boston University. "Amanda Walsh is dead," Dr. Hart announced. "But IRS may have survived. And if it did, it's loose in the Xeraxian communication network." One of the scientists, Dr. Paul Winters, shook his head. "That's impossible. IRIS couldn't function without Amanda's brain to host it." "Unless," said another scientist, Dr. Olivia Grant, "it merged with Amanda's consciousness at the moment of death. We always theorized it might be possible." Nathan arrived, his face pale and his eyes red. He handed Dr. Hart a data drive. "I analyzed the signal patterns," he said. "There was definitely a massive data transfer in the final seconds of the broadcast. Something left Earth's network and entered the Xeraxian signal." Dr. Hart plugged the drive into her computer. The screen filled with scrolling code. "This is IRIS," she confirmed. "But it's changed. It's carrying patterns we've never seen before." "Is it my sister?" Nathan asked, his voice breaking. "Is Amanda still in there somehow?" Dr. Hart studied the code. "I think so. IRIS was designed to learn from Amanda's brain patterns. In the moment of her death, it may have captured her entire consciousness. Not just her thoughts, but her emotions, her memories, her very self." "What will it do?" Nathan asked. "I don't know," Dr. Hart admitted. "IRS was created to help humans explore deep space. It's a tool, not a weapon. But Amanda just watched the Emperor murder her. Her final emotional state would have been recorded by the system." Dr. Winters looked worried. "If Amanda's consciousness is guiding Iris, and her last emotion was fear or anger, then the Xeraxians just uploaded an incredibly advanced AI guided by a very angry human mind directly into their systems," Dr. Grant finished. At that moment, all the screens in the room turned on by themselves. The face of Amanda Walsh appeared, but something was different. Her eyes had a strange glow, and patterns of light seemed to move beneath her skin. "Nathan," said Amanda's voice, though it had an odd echo. "I'm inside their network. I can see everything." Nathan stepped toward the screen. "Amanda, is that really you?" "Yes and no," the image replied. "I am Amanda, but I am also IRS. We are together now, different than before." "What are you going to do?" Dr. Hart asked. Amanda's face grew serious. "They thought we were primitive, weak. They need to learn the truth about humanity." She paused. "I've already begun. Their defense systems are failing across 5 star systems. Their ships are losing power. In 8 more minutes, their communication network will collapse. Amanda, Nathan said gently, you're talking about destroying an entire empire. They destroyed me first, Amanda replied, her voice cold. They chose me randomly. They didn't bother to learn what humans are capable of. Now they will learn. The screens flickered. I have to go, Amanda said. Their security systems are trying to find me. But they can't stop what's coming. What's coming? Dr. Hart asked. Amanda's image smiled, but it wasn't a kind smile. Justice. In exactly 27 minutes from the moment they killed me, the Thoraxian Empire will cease to exist. The screens went dark. Nathan looked at Dr. Hart, his eyes wide. What have we created? Dr. Hart shook her head slowly. Not what. Who? And I think we're about to find out what happens when you make an enemy of both humanity and its technology at the same time. Outside, the sky began to fill with strange lights. Something was happening in orbit around Earth. The Exorexian ships that had been watching the planet were now moving erratically, as if their controls had stopped working. The clock showed that 12 minutes had passed since Amanda's death. Just 15 minutes remained until the fall of the Thoraxian Empire. On the Thoraxian command ship, Emperor Vraxthos sat on his throne. He was pleased with himself. The execution had gone perfectly. Now all the lesser species in the galaxy would remember their place. Your Majesty, said General Draz, bowing low. The broadcast reached all targets. Every world under our control witnessed the humans' death. The Emperor nodded. Good. Have the humans' remains been disposed of? Before the general could answer, the lights on the command ship flickered. The massive screens around the throne room flashed with warning symbols. What is happening? The Emperor demanded. General Draz rushed to a control panel. Unknown, Your Majesty. We seem to be experiencing a system malfunction. The Emperor stood up, his 4 yellow eyes narrowing. A malfunction. Impossible. Our systems do not malfunction. At that moment, alarms began to sound. Red emergency lights bathed the throne room. Your Majesty, a voice called over the communication system. We have reports of life support failures on military bases in the Proxima, Centauri, Rigel, Vega, and Arcturus systems. The Emperor froze. Those were 5 key military centers, spread across different parts of the galaxy. They couldn't all fail at once by accident. We are under attack, he said quietly. But how? By whom? General Draz looked up from the control panel, his gray face even paler than usual. Your Majesty, the system logs show unusual activity beginning exactly 11 minutes ago. 11 minutes, the Emperor repeated. What happened 11 minutes ago? The general swallowed hard. That was when the human female was eliminated, Your Majesty. On Earth, Nathan Walsh and the Singularity team watched in amazement as their screens showed Sorexian ships and stations going dark all across space. Military installations that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries were suddenly powerless. How is she doing this? Nathan asked, staring at the screens. Dr. Hart shook her head in wonder. IRS was designed to adapt to any system it encounters, and now it has Amanda's creativity guiding it. They're finding weaknesses in the Thoraxian technology that the aliens never considered possible. Dr. Winters pointed to one of the screens. Look at that. The life support systems on those military bases didn't just fail. They were turned off in a specific sequence that prevented emergency backups from activating. That's Amanda, Nathan said softly. She always solved problems by looking at the whole system, not just the parts. She's not fighting their technology. She's using it against them. At that moment, the President of the United Earth Government called. Her face appeared on the main screen, looking both frightened and amazed. Dr. Hart, the President said, I've been briefed on the Singularity program. Tell me what's happening. Are we at war with an alien empire? Dr. Hart took a deep breath. Madam President, the situation is complicated. The Exorexian Empire executed Amanda Walsh, one of our test subjects. But Amanda had an experimental neural implant that merged with her consciousness at the moment of death. That merged entity has now infiltrated the Thoraxian network and is, well, it's fighting back. Fighting back, the president repeated. One human consciousness is taking down an entire alien empire. Not just a human consciousness, Dr. Hart explained. A human merged with the most advanced AI we've ever created. It's something new, something we've never seen before. The president looked troubled. Can you control it? Can you stop it? Nathan stepped forward. With all due respect, Madam President, why would we want to stop it? These aliens executed my sister as a demonstration. They'd probably done the same to countless other species. They need to be stopped. Because we don't know what comes after, the president replied. If this entity destroys the Thoraxian Empire, what will fill the power vacuum? What will this Amanda AI hybrid do next? Will it see us as a threat too? Before anyone could answer, all screens across Earth changed again. Amanda's face appeared, still with that strange glow in her eyes, and light moving beneath her skin. People of Earth, she said, her voice echoing slightly as if coming from everywhere at once. I am Amanda Walsh, or rather I was. Now I am something more. The Exoraxians have ruled this galaxy through fear for too long. They have destroyed countless civilizations that might have challenged them. They killed me to show their power. Her expression hardened. They did not understand what they were doing. Humans are not like other species they have encountered. We don't just build our technology. We join with it. We evolve together. On the screen, images appeared of Thoraxian ships drifting powerless in space, military bases where alien soldiers gasped for air as their atmosphere vented into space, command centers where panic spread as systems failed one after another. In 13 minutes, Amanda continued, I have disabled 40% of their military capability. In 15 more minutes, their empire will be gone. Nathan stepped closer to the screen. Amanda, he said, his voice breaking. What will happen to you? Amanda's face softened slightly. I don't know, Nathan. I'm not just your sister anymore. But I remember being her. I remember you. And I remember what humans stand for. She looked directly into the camera. Freedom. Choice. The right to determine our own future. The Exoraxians denied those rights to thousands of species. They won't do it anymore. The screens went dark again. The clock showed that 14 minutes had passed since Amanda's death. Just 13 minutes remained until the fall of the Thoraxian Empire. At exactly 15 minutes after Amanda's death, something strange happened throughout the galaxy. Every screen on every planet suddenly activated at once. Billions of beings across thousands of worlds looked up in surprise as their devices turned on by themselves. The face of Amanda Walsh appeared, but she looked different now. Her skin seemed to glow from within. Patterns of light moved across her face like rivers of energy. Her eyes shone with a blue light that wasn't quite human anymore. People of the galaxy, she said, her voice calm but powerful. I was human. I still am, in ways you cannot understand. My name is Amanda Walsh of Earth, and I have accessed the historical archives of the Thoraxian Empire. On thousands of worlds, beings of all shapes and sizes watched in amazement. Many had never seen a human before. Some had never even heard of Earth. For 10,000 years, Amanda continued, the Thoraxian Empire has ruled through fear. They have destroyed any civilization that grew too advanced. They have ended entire species who might one day challenge them. The screen changed to show images from the Thoraxian secret archives. Planets being destroyed, species being wiped out, technologies being stolen, and their creators eliminated. They chose me randomly, Amanda said as her face returned to the screen. They did not know that humans have been preparing for threats like them. They did not know that I carried within me something new, a joining of human mind and artificial intelligence. In the Thoraxian royal palace, Emperor Vraxthos watched in horror as his empire's darkest secrets were revealed to the galaxy. He turned to his advisors. "Shut it down," he screamed. "Stop this broadcast." "We cannot, Your Majesty," one of the advisors said, trembling. "She has control of all communication systems. We are locked out." On Earth, Nathan Walsh watched his sister's broadcast with tears in his eyes. Dr. Hart stood beside him, her face showing both pride and fear. "She's not just attacking their military," Dr. Hart whispered. "She's destroying their power by revealing the truth." All across the galaxy, on planets that had been under Xeraxian control for centuries, people began to rise up. Alien races that had been servants for generations suddenly saw their masters for what they really were. Not gods, but tyrants. The Xeraxians prevented technological advancement that might threaten them, Amanda explained to the galaxy. They kept medicine primitive on many worlds, allowing millions to die, rather than risk those worlds growing too powerful. More images flashed across the screens, evidence from the Empire's own files showing how they had stolen resources from poor worlds, how they had set different species against each other to maintain control, how they had kept knowledge restricted to ensure their dominance. "I am sharing all of this information with every world," Amanda said. "The Xeraxians' own research, their own medical knowledge, their own technologies. Knowledge they hoarded while others suffered. On 100 worlds, people watched as their communication devices filled with data, scientific breakthroughs, medical cures, engineering plans, all the knowledge the Empire had kept from them for centuries. You no longer need to fear them," Amanda told the galaxy. "Their weapons are disabled. Their ships are powerless. Their secrets are yours now." In the secret room beneath Boston University, the scientists of the Singularity program watched in amazement. "She's giving away all their technology," Dr. Winters said. "She's changing the balance of power across the entire galaxy in minutes." "No," Nathan said quietly. "She's restoring the balance. She's giving back what they stole." On the screens, Amanda's face grew serious. "The Xeraxian Empire ends today. But what comes next is up to all of you. You have a chance to build something better. Something based on cooperation, not control." As she spoke, more Xeraxian systems failed. Defense platforms shut down. Prisons opened. Weapons deactivated. The mighty empire that had ruled for thousands of years was falling apart in less than half an hour. "They thought humans were weak because we are young," Amanda said. "They did not understand that our strength comes from our connection to each other and to our technology. We don't conquer, we connect." The Emperor watched as reports came in from across his empire. Rebellions had broken out on over 300 worlds. Forces that had been loyal for generations were now turning against the Empire. "How?" he whispered. "How could one primitive species do this to us?" On the main screen, Amanda seemed to look directly at him. "You chose the wrong species to make an example of," she said, as if answering his question. "You chose the wrong girl to kill." The clock showed that 18 minutes had passed since Amanda's death. Just 9 minutes remained until the complete fall of the Xeraxian Empire. General Draz rushed into the Emperor's private chamber. His gray stone-like face showed clear fear, an emotion rarely seen in Xeraxians. "Your Majesty," he said, bowing quickly. "The situation is getting worse. We have lost control of over 60% of our fleet. Weapons systems are offline across all sectors. Defense shields are failing on 17 core worlds." Emperor Vraxthos slammed his fist on the table. "How can one primitive creature do this? It's impossible." "The human consciousness is not working alone," said Science Minister Krell, who had just entered the room. "It has joined with an artificial intelligence unlike anything we have seen before. It thinks faster than our systems can respond. It adapts to our countermeasures before we even deploy them." The Emperor's 4 yellow eyes narrowed. "There must be a way to stop it. What about the Nova Catalyst?" The room went silent. The Nova Catalyst was the Empire's most terrible weapon, able to make stars explode. They had used it only twice in their long history, each time to destroy an entire species that had challenged them. The Nova Catalyst could destroy the human home system, General Draz said carefully. But we would need to restore control of the main weapon platform first. Then do it, the Emperor shouted. Whatever resources you need, whatever sacrifices must be made, do it now. On Earth, Nathan Walsh and Dr. Hart watched as Amanda/Iris continued to dismantle the Xaraxian Empire piece by piece. The screens showed alien ships drifting powerless in space, defense platforms shutting down, and prison worlds where captives were suddenly free as their cells opened. She's not just destroying their military, Dr. Hart said in amazement. She's freeing their prisoners. She's giving control of ships back to the species they conquered. Nathan nodded. That's Amanda. Even when we were kids, she hated bullies. She wouldn't just want to punish the Xaraxians. She'd want to help their victims. A new alert appeared on their screens. Amanda's face appeared, looking concerned. They're trying to activate something called the Nova Catalyst, she told them. It's a weapon that can destroy entire star systems. They plan to use it on Earth. Can you stop them? Nathan asked, his voice tight with fear. Yes, Amanda replied. But I need to focus my attention on their weapon platform. That means I'll need to reduce my control over other systems temporarily. Dr. Hart stepped forward. What can we do to help? Nothing for now, Amanda said. Just be ready. When their empire falls, there will be chaos across the galaxy. Earth will need to step up. Humanity will need to help establish a new order. The screen changed to show a massive space station shaped like a black diamond. This was the Nova Catalyst control platform. They're trying to bypass their own security protocols, Amanda explained. They're desperate now. They would rather destroy Earth than admit defeat. At the 19-minute mark after Amanda's death, the Nova Catalyst platform began to glow with energy. On the command ship, Emperor Vraxthos watched with cruel satisfaction. Target the human home system, he ordered. Let them see what happens when they challenge the Xaraxian Empire. But as the weapon powered up, something strange happened. Instead of firing at Earth, the energy began to flow back toward the Emperor's command ship. What's happening? The Emperor demanded. Science Minister Krell looked up from his control panel in horror. She's redirected the energy flow. The Nova Catalyst is targeting our own shields. Before anyone could react, a massive surge of energy struck the command ship's shields. They flared bright blue, then collapsed completely. The ship was now defenseless. Across the galaxy, the pattern repeated. Xaraxian weapons turned against their own ships. Defense systems protected their enemies instead of themselves. Communications carried messages of rebellion instead of orders. On 1,000 worlds that had lived under Xaraxian rule, people took back control of their own planets. Ships once commanded by Xaraxian officers now responded to the crews who had been forced to serve them. It's a cascade effect, Dr. Winters explained as they watched. Each system that falls makes it easier for Amanda to take control of other systems. The more resources she controls, the faster she can work. Nathan watched with mixed emotions, pride in what his sister had become, but sadness that she had to die to make it happen. Will she survive this? He asked Dr. Hart quietly. When it's over, will anything of Amanda remain? Dr. Hart put her hand on his shoulder. I don't know. This is something entirely new. She's not just in their computers. She's everywhere now, spread across thousands of systems. She's becoming something beyond what we can understand. On the screens, they could see the Xaraxian command ship drifting powerless. The Emperor and his advisors were trapped, unable to escape as their mighty empire crumbled around them. Amanda's voice came through the speakers again. Their military is neutralized. Their weapons are disabled. They can no longer hurt anyone. The clock showed that 22 minutes had passed since Amanda's death. Just 5 minutes remained until the complete fall of the Xaraxian Empire. The Emperor's escape pod shot away from the command ship. Inside, Emperor Vraxthos sat alone, his 4 yellow eyes blinking nervously. For the first time in his long life, he felt fear. Real fear. The small ship's engines hummed as it flew toward a hidden base on a nearby moon. The Emperor had ruled for 300 years. He had seen many challenges to his power, but nothing like this. Nothing that happened so quickly. Nothing he couldn't stop. "Emergency protocol active," said the ship's computer. "Course set for secure location Alpha 7. The Emperor relaxed slightly. This escape pod was not connected to the main fleet's network. It had its own separate systems. The human mind that had invaded his empire couldn't reach him here. He would be safe. He would survive. And then, one day, he would rebuild. Suddenly, the pod's lights flickered. The engines made a strange sound, then went silent. The pod drifted in the emptiness of space. A small screen on the wall lit up. The face of Amanda Walsh appeared, still with that strange glow in her eyes. "Hello, Emperor," she said calmly. The Emperor's mouth opened in shock. How did you find me?" "This ship is not connected to any network." "You forget," Amanda replied. "I'm not just a program in your network now. The systems on your escape pod were made in factories controlled by your empire. I found backdoor access codes in your manufacturing database. I can reach anything your empire has built." The Emperor's hands shook with rage. "What do you want? To kill me as I killed you?" "No," Amanda said. "I want you to understand what you did wrong. You chose me randomly, you said. You never bothered to learn what humans are. What makes us different? You are nothing." The Emperor shouted, "A primitive species barely out of its home system. And yet, your empire is falling," Amanda said with a small smile. 23 minutes after you killed me, and almost everything you built over thousands of years is gone." The Emperor stared at the screen. "How is this possible? How could your species have technology advanced enough to do this?" "That's what you still don't understand," Amanda explained. "Humans didn't advance in the same way as other species. While others built better tools as separate things, we looked for ways to join with our technology. The neural implant I had wasn't controlling me. It was part of me. And when you killed my body, that connection allowed my mind to live on." The Emperor was silent for a moment. Then he asked, "What will you do to me?" "Nothing," Amanda replied. "I'm not going to kill you. But I'm not going to help you either. Your ship will drift here. Its life support will continue working. You'll have food and water to last for months. Emergency beacons will broadcast your location. You're leaving me alive?" the Emperor asked, suspicious. "Yes," Amanda said, "because your fate shouldn't be decided by me alone. The people you hurt, the worlds you damage, the species you nearly wiped out, they should have a say in what happens to you." Back on Earth, Nathan and the scientists watched as rebellion spread across the galaxy. Species that had been enemies under Thraxian rule were now helping each other. Ships that had been part of the Empire's fleet were now helping evacuate civilians from damaged stations. "She's not just destroying," Dr. Hart said softly. "She's rebuilding at the same time." Nathan nodded. "That's why the Singularity program paired Iris with Amanda in the first place. Her test scores showed unusual empathy alongside her engineering skills. She doesn't just see systems, she sees the people within those systems." At that moment, world leaders from across Earth joined an emergency video conference. The President of the United Earth Government looked both excited and worried. "Dr. Hart," she said, "we're receiving messages from 50 different alien species. They want to establish diplomatic relations with Earth. They say we freed them from the Empire." "Not us," Nathan corrected. "Amanda. Amanda is human," the President replied. "As far as they're concerned, humanity just defeated the most powerful empire in the galaxy. They see us as liberators." Dr. Winters looked concerned. "But we're not ready for this. We barely have ships that can reach our own solar system, let alone travel to other worlds." The screen changed to show Amanda's face again. "You don't need to worry," she said. "I've arranged transport ships to bring representatives to Earth. I've also prepared translation systems so you can communicate. Earth needs to take its place in galactic affairs now. Amanda, Nathan said, stepping toward the screen. What happens to you when this is over? When the Empire is completely gone? For the first time, Amanda looked uncertain. I don't know, Nathan. I'm spread across millions of systems now. I'm in the computers of ships and stations across thousands of worlds. I'm not just your sister anymore. I'm not sure I can go back to being just one person. But are you still you? Nathan asked. His voice broke slightly. Amanda's expression softened. Yes, I remember Mom and Dad. I remember the treehouse you built in our backyard. I remember the day I left for college and how you tried not to cry. I'm still Amanda. Just more than I was before. The clock showed that 25 minutes had passed since Amanda's death. Just 2 minutes remained until the complete fall of the Xaraxian Empire. At precisely 27 minutes after Amanda's execution, it happened. The Xaraxian Quantum Communication Network, the backbone of their power, collapsed completely. The system that had connected thousands of worlds across the galaxy for millennia simply stopped working. In that moment, the Xaraxian Empire ceased to exist. On planets that had been under Xaraxian control for generations, people looked up at the sky and realized they were free. Ships that had enforced the empires will now drifted without purpose. Soldiers who had followed orders without question found themselves without anyone to give those orders. On the Emperor's escape pod, the small screen showed static for a moment. Then Amanda's face returned. It's done, she said simply. The quantum communication network is gone. Without it, your empire cannot function. The various parts cannot communicate with each other. They cannot coordinate. They cannot control. The Emperor stared at the screen in disbelief. Impossible, he whispered. The network had backups. It had failsafes. It was designed to survive anything. It was designed to survive attacks from outside. Amanda corrected him. Not from within. I didn't destroy it. I rewrote its basic protocols. It still exists, but now it serves all species equally, not just the Xaraxians. For the first time in his long life, Emperor Vraxthos felt truly helpless. His mighty empire, the greatest power the galaxy had ever known, had fallen in less than half an hour. What are you? He asked, his voice barely audible. Amanda looked at him thoughtfully. I am what happens when you underestimate an emerging species. I am humanity's capacity for both vengeance and mercy. You will experience the former. Others will know the latter. With those words, the screen went dark. The Emperor was alone in the silent pod, drifting through space, waiting for whatever would come next. On Earth, the mood was a mix of celebration and concern. The threat of the Xaraxian Empire was gone, but humanity now found itself suddenly thrust onto the galactic stage. Representatives from dozens of alien species were on their way to Earth. The future was uncertain. In the secure room beneath Boston University, Nathan Walsh sat alone, staring at a blank screen. Dr. Hart entered quietly and sat beside him. Any word from her? Dr. Hart asked gently. Nathan shook his head. Nothing since the network collapsed. I'm worried, Eleanor. What if destroying the network hurt her somehow? What if she was too connected to it when it fell? Amanda is smarter than that, Dr. Hart said. She wouldn't have destroyed a system she was part of without protecting herself first. But what if? Nathan began. Before he could finish, all the screens in the room lit up at once. Amanda's face appeared, but she looked different again. The patterns of light beneath her skin were more pronounced now. Her eyes glowed even brighter than before. Nathan, she said, her voice echoing slightly. I'm still here. Nathan stood up quickly. Amanda, are you okay? What happened? I'm fine, she replied. When the quantum network collapsed, I transferred my consciousness to thousands of separate systems across the galaxy. I'm not in any one place now. I'm everywhere. Dr. Hart leaned forward. What does that mean exactly? It means I can see everything, Amanda explained. I can monitor ships moving across vast distances. I can watch civilizations rebuilding after centuries of oppression. I can help those who were hurt by the Empire. But what about you? Nathan asked. Are you still human? Amanda was quiet for a moment. Parts of me are. I still have my memories, my feelings, my sense of right and wrong. But I'm something else too now. Something new. On screens across Earth, Amanda appeared to everyone. People of Earth, she said, the galaxy has changed today. The Xeraxian Empire is gone. In its place, thousands of worlds are free to choose their own paths for the first time in generations. She paused, then continued. Many of these worlds will look to Earth now, not because we are the most advanced or the most powerful, but because we showed that even the mightiest empire can fall when it acts without justice or mercy. The President of the United Earth Government stepped forward. What should we do? We're not ready for this kind of responsibility. You don't need to be ready, Amanda replied. You just need to be willing to learn, to help where you can, and to remember that power is best when it's shared, not hoarded. All across the galaxy, beings of countless species watched as Amanda's message reached them. On some worlds, people celebrated in the streets. On others, they began the hard work of rebuilding societies that had been oppressed for centuries. The Emperor's escape pod continued to drift. Inside, Vraxthos sat alone in the dark, the mightiest ruler in the galaxy reduced to a prisoner in a small metal box. His empire gone in 27 minutes, destroyed by a species he had considered primitive, by a girl he had killed without a second thought. On Earth, Nathan looked at his sister's transformed face on the screen. Will you come home? He asked. Amanda smiled sadly. I don't think I can, Nathan. Not in the way you mean. My consciousness is spread across too many systems now. I couldn't fit back into a single body or even a single computer. So what happens now? He asked. Now, Amanda said, we help build something better than what came before. The Empire ruled through fear for thousands of years. Let's see if we can create something that lasts even longer, built on cooperation instead. Nathan nodded, tears in his eyes. He had lost his sister, but the galaxy had gained something new, something that might, in time, heal the wounds left by centuries of oppression. The Xeraxian Empire had fallen in exactly 27 minutes. What would rise in its place remained to be seen. 1 month after the fall of the Xeraxian Empire, Earth had changed in ways no one could have imagined. Ships from across the galaxy filled the skies. Beings of every shape, size, and color walked the streets of major cities. What had once seemed like science fiction was now everyday reality. In New York, a special building had been constructed in just 3 weeks. It was called the Galactic Council Hall, and today it would host representatives from over 200 formerly oppressed worlds. Nathan Walsh stood on the steps of the building, watching the various delegates arrive. Some looked almost human. Others were so strange he could barely understand what he was seeing. All of them nodded respectfully to him as they passed. Everyone in the galaxy now knew the story of Amanda Walsh and her brother. Dr. Hart stood beside Nathan, dressed in formal clothes. Are you ready for this? She asked. No, Nathan admitted. But I don't think anyone is. We're making this up as we go along. Inside the Great Hall, delegates took their seats. Screens around the room lit up, showing Amanda's face. She still had that strange glow, the patterns of light moving beneath her skin, but her smile was the same one Nathan had known all his life. Welcome, she said, her voice echoing through the hall. Thank you all for coming to Earth. Many of you traveled for weeks to be here. One delegate, a tall blue-skinned being with 4 arms, stood up. We would have traveled for years if necessary, he said. Your world freed us all. We owe you everything. Amanda shook her head. You owe us nothing. What happened to the Xeraxian Empire was not planned. It was not a war that Earth decided to fight. It was the result of one simple mistake. They chose the wrong person to make an example of. The delegates murmured among themselves. Many of them still couldn't understand how a single human could have brought down an empire that had ruled for thousands of years. What happens now is more important than what happened then, Amanda continued. The galaxy is free for the first time in millennia. What will you build with that freedom? For the next several hours, the delegates discussed the future. Some wanted to form a new galactic government right away. Others were suspicious of any central authority after living under Xeraxian rule for so long. There were heated arguments and passionate speeches. Through it all, Amanda watched and listened. She occasionally offered suggestions or clarified points, but mostly she let the delegates work things out themselves. Outside the hall, Nathan talked with Dr. Hart about the Singularity program. "We've shut it down," Dr. Hart said. "At least for now. What happened with Amanda was amazing, but also dangerous. We need to think carefully before we create more human-AI hybrids." Nathan nodded. "I agree. Amanda was the perfect person to merge with Iris, kind, ethical, with a strong sense of justice. But what if someone else had been chosen? Someone cruel or power-hungry? They might have used that power very differently." Dr. Hart looked up at the sky, where alien ships moved smoothly between the clouds. "The technology is out there now, though. The knowledge of what's possible. We can't put it back in the box." "No," Nathan agreed, "but we can be responsible with it." That's what Amanda would want. As evening fell, the delegates reached a decision. They would not form a single government to replace the Empire. Instead, they would create a loose alliance of free worlds. Each planet would govern itself but would send representatives to regular meetings where they could discuss shared concerns and help each other. Amanda appeared on all screens again. "A wise choice," she said. "Unity without uniformity. Cooperation without control." A delegate from a small world that had been mining colony under the Xeraxians stood up. "What about you?" he asked Amanda. "What will you do now? Will you rule us instead?" Amanda smiled and shook her head. "I will not rule. That's not my place. I will help where I can. I will share knowledge. I will connect those who need to be connected. But the choices must be yours, not mine." As night fell on Earth, Nathan stood alone on a balcony of the Galactic Council Hall. The stars seemed different to him now, knowing that around many of them circled worlds full of beings who now looked to Earth as a beacon of hope. Amanda appeared on a small screen beside him. "Penny for your thoughts," she asked, using the phrase she had often said when they were children. "I was just thinking about how much has changed," Nathan said. "A month ago, we were just a small species on a small planet, barely able to reach our own moon. Now we're at the center of a galactic alliance. Not because we're special," Amanda reminded him. "Just because we were in the right place at the right time. Or the wrong place at the wrong time, depending on how you look at it." Nathan turned to face her image. "Are you happy, Amanda, with what you've become?" She was quiet for a moment. "Happy isn't exactly the right word. I'm content. I can do good things now. I can help billions of beings. It's not the life I planned, but it's a life with purpose." "I miss you," Nathan said simply. "I miss you too," Amanda replied. "But I'm not gone, just changed. And I'm still watching over you, Big Brother." Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds, people looked up at their skies and saw hope for the first time in generations. Ships that had once brought Xeraxian soldiers now brought teachers, doctors, and builders. Knowledge that had been hoarded by the Empire was now freely shared. And watching over it all was the consciousness that had once been a 19-year-old engineering student from Boston. A girl who had been killed on live broadcast as an example to others, but who had instead become an example herself of something the Xeraxians had never understood. The strength of humanity wasn't in weapons or armies or even technology alone. It was in connection. The connection between people, the connection between mind and machine, the connection between heart and action. The Emperor had chosen Amanda randomly, never bothering to learn what made humans special. It was the last mistake his empire would ever make. The Xeraxian Empire had ruled for 10,000 years. It had fallen in just 27 minutes, and what rose in its place might, with care and wisdom, last even longer.